Hey everyone, it is your host Chris at Hertastic Reviews here. How are we doing today? I hope you're doing good. If you're first time here on the channel, hey, welcome to this podcast. Well, it's not even a podcast, it's a YouTube channel where we talk about movies, we do top fives, we talk shit on other YouTube channels, we get publicly intoxicated on here, but still say that the video is appropriate for children as well. Stay in school, kids, because this is what happens when you don't. I'm kidding. I do have a bachelor's degree. Today, I'm feeling a little tipsy because I did record a podcast episode. And if you haven't listened to our podcast, Inside the Sequel, I beg you, please, for the love of God, listen to it. It's the only thing that keeps me going these days. So if you listen to it on YouTube, it'd mean the world to me. So we're eating gummy bears, we're drinking vodka tonics, and we're going to be talking about cinema. Today, we are talking about top 5 movies from some random decade. I'm feeling frisky, I'm feeling moody. The last episode we talked about was how to save money on Blu-ray collecting and the trends of things. I'm kind of tired of thinking about how the way Blu-ray collecting is now. It's physical media dying. It's a scalper's market now. It's what's going to happen in social media and physical media. It's everyone just wants to sell things on eBay. Everything's going out of print, yada, yada. And you know what? I think physical media would be fine if I don't bash it for one episode. So today we're just going to be drinking. And I have a random number generator on my computer screen that you cannot see. And I have it programmed to where it will automatically hit a random year. And from there, I'm going to do my top 5 movies from that year. And I'll just give reasons why. Basically is that. We're just going to have a little fun with it today, okay? So hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. With the year we're going to be ranking, I just hit a random. And it was programmed from 1900 all the way to 2021. Oh, God. We are at the year 2004. 2004 actually was a goated year. Goddamn. Like I said, this is my top 5. This isn't end all be all, but these are the 5 2004 movies that I'm gonna stand the fuck out of because honestly, it gets boring. I go on Twitter, I go on Filmstock, I see on YouTube videos, everyone's talking about Criterions, Vinegar Syndrome, Scream Factory. I just saw an Ozu film. I just watched a Criterion release of an obscure movie, and it's a perfect 5 out of 5. Blind buy it. You cannot go wrong. I'm not doing that here. That's not practical. I'm not here also to get popular. We're just at the cusp of 300 subscribers. We're at 297. I don't even think we deserve to get to 300. These are 5 movies from 2004 that I absolutely fucking stan. And I'm going to just go off the dome. I'm not going to give it any thought. I'm just going to give straight up just my opinions on these movies. And I'm scrolling through. Oh, fucking perfect. Here we go. So at number 5, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about Sleepover. Have you seen Sleepover? Sleepover is a coming of age girl movie about, well, I shouldn't say it's a girl movie. It's a teenage comedy movie about these 5 girls who have sleepover at the end of 8th grade. And, the transition from 8th grade to freshman year is a fucking deal. For me, coming from Catholic school, going to high school is a big deal. It was scary. But these girls, they want to celebrate their movement to high school, and they have a sleepover. But their rival girls, who are also having a sleepover, want to do a scavenger hunt with them. And there's this guy here that the main character who played Lava Girl in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I wish I can remember her name right now. I know her name's Carmen in the movies, in Spy Kids and stuff, but she's in this. Alexandra Vega, I believe, is her name, and she's in this. I'm trying to think of other the guy who was in one of those. Whatever, I'm gonna cut that. But anyway, so Sleepover. These girls are going to scavenger hunt. It has Steve Carell in it as well, and they basically go on a scavenger hunt to win the tournament because whoever wins this game will get promised a lunch spot where all the popular kids sit. So that's a big deal. And in 2004, Sleepover, this movie was one of my favorites. I would watch this, Cinderella Story, and Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen with Lindsay Lohan. And if I was feeling up to a fourth movie, Mean Girls was being thrown in there. I love these these teenage drama comedy movies. I think they're a lot of fun. They're dated, but man, does it hit that, like, for me growing up in this time, like, I related to a lot of these things, like the music that was being played, what was cool at the time, just hanging out with your friends and doing silly stuff. Sleepover is that movie. So number 5 goes to Sleepover. Oh my God. Cinderella Story, I think, was also in 2004. 2004 might be one of the best years. I never realized they all came out in the same year. I thought it was like 2002, 2003, 2000. Okay, Sleepover, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, Cinderella Story, Mean Girls. All of those movies came out in the same year. 5, 4, 3, and 2 easily. I wouldn't be afraid to do that. They're top 5 right there. Oh my God, I can't believe I never realized that. Yeah, watch Sleepover. I'm going to talk about Sleepover the most because I don't think like that one gets enough love. But yeah, that's the one I'll put at number 5. But Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff, absolute goated movie. It's so good. So you got to watch Cinderella Story. Mean Girls gets enough love, but you also got to include it in here. It ages like fine wine. And then Confession of a Teenage Drama Queen with another Lindsay Lohan. I had such a huge Lindsay Lohan growing up, where she moves from New York to New Jersey, and it has Megan Fox in it too, and she falls in love with a rock star. It's on the Disney Channel. It's Disney Plus. Watch all of these movies. They're absolutely amazing. So there you go. All right, so number 4, I'm going to talk about Troy. So war, like sand and swords was like a big thing for me growing up. So Troy is the pinnacle of that. I love Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings is a little long sometimes, So so to give me something like that, but a little light, Troy was my go-to. But you also had like King Arthur, and then you also had Alexander from Oliver Stone, which I didn't get into until I was later. But Troy's gonna be number 4. It has the wrestler and the YouTuber Nathan Jones in it, Brad Pitt, Eric Bana, Sean Bean, Brian Cox. It has another WCW wrestler in it, Orlando Bloom. It's absolutely goated. It's a gem. The Troy, like, I love the part in Troy where they go like Momodins, like they get like I don't know, just when like Brad Pitt is like talking of like hyping his guys before they storm the beach. I love it. Also, I love the movie Troy because it's all about being horny. Orlando Bloom steals Helena Troy, played by Hannah Kruger, I believe, or was that someone I went to high school with? I don't know. But yeah, it's all about it has Peter O'Toole in it as well. Yeah, Troy is just fucking awesome. I get so hyped right now, but Troy is an amazing movie, and you got to get that with Sleepover. So you get Sleepover, and then you get Troy. You could also insert King Arthur. I personally like King Arthur. I know people like diss the movie, but I actually really enjoy it. But yeah, Troy was just all about Greek mythology. Had a lot of good action, really cool moments in it. I think it's directed by Wolfgang Peterson, I believe. I also love Brian Cox. He gives an absolute dynamic performance where he goes like plays as King Menelaus, and he's like, history remembers kings, not soldiers. And Brad Pitt's like all pissed off and stuff like that. Man, and it's just such a good movie. And you get a really nice ass shot of Helen of Troy in this movie. And that did it for me growing up. Also, unforgivable that Brad Pitt kills Eric Bana, because I love Hector of Troy when he fights Achilles. An amazing scene. The extended director's cut scene doesn't do it as well. I like the theatrical cut of that fight scene personally. That's just me. So number 4 goes to Troy. Number 3 will go to Resident Evil Apocalypse, the sequel to the hit smash Resident Evil movie based on the video game. Resident Evil Apocalypse is the one not directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, which I'm not saying I'm not a fan of his because I love his stuff. He did Alien vs. Predator. He did the Resident Evil movies. I'm just a big fan of Paul W.S. Anderson. But Resident Evil Apocalypse is my favorite. It's a sequel, and it feels the most like the video games. It takes place in Raccoon City after the events of the first movie, and it does a good job of like filling in what has happened since then with the zombie outbreak. This movie, the action is really dated, but it's really cool at the same time. Mila Djokovic comes in, reprises her role as Alice, which I'm not a big fan of as a character, but you get Carlos Oliveira from the video game, you get Jill Valentine as well, and you're kind of having to chase over the Lance Berkman type character from the video game from Resident Evil 2, which is the best in the franchise in my opinion. You get that kind of sort of character in the movie as well. You get a bunch more STARS members, and of course, you get the Nemesis character in this as well. So it kind of crosses the bridge of Resident Evil 2 and 3, the video games, in one movie. You get the zombie dogs, you get the stealth lickers, you get Nemesis, really great city being overran by zombies. Resident Evil Apocalypse, I don't know where I would have been without that movie. Like, that movie legitimately, like, kept me going growing up. Like, I was all about it. The first Resident Evil, like, I still watch because it's a great zombie horror movie, and it is faithful to the video game. And this one just kind of, like, takes the more route of, like, less of a zombie almost type of movie and more so like the video game type. And I really like that. You don't get any Leon, of course, but you get Carlos Oliveira, and I love the casting this movie, and you get kind of like more about the Umbrella characters, and the ending is great because it sets you up for Resident Evil Extinction, which is also the first 3 and 4 Resident Evil movies I'm a big fan of. So Resident Evil Apocalypse is my favorite, and you just gotta watch it. It's just really good. So number 3 has to go to Resident Evil Apocalypse. Number 2 probably has to go to Van Helsing. People, I guess, don't like Van Helsing, but man, I can't remember a movie I watched a lot more than, besides Attack of the Clones from Star Wars, than Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. That movie is, like, fucking phenomenal. I think it kind of, like, so I didn't grow up watching a lot of the, Universal monster movies, but I knew about their stories. I read, like, the playwrights in school and stuff. So, like, seeing the Frankenstein monster, the Dracula character, the Brides of Dracula, the werewolf, Wolfman, I just thought that was so cool growing up. And I love the soundtrack in this movie. And it has the guy who plays Faramir in Lord of the Rings. It has him as the monk in this movie. I'm Catholic, so, like, Van Helsing is part of your religion. And Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale have such electric chemistry in this movie. I love the actor that plays Dracula. I can't remember his name, but man, I love that shit. And Frankenstein, I've always felt bad for in this movie. The way he cries and goes, "Arr!" and you see his green brain, and the tragedy of Kate Beckinsale's brother who gets the bitten by the wolf. Such a sad part, and I love the part when Kate Beckinsale's like, "No, stay away! He can only be killed by being shot by a silver bullet." And she has like that accent that's so fun. Hugh Jackman has that gun that shoots like the holy water arrows, and they talk about the ring of garlic, the steak knife, and how the Vatican is like, basically conducting expeditions to kill these monsters that go against the teachings of Catholicism. I think that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. I love the part when Dracula wants his wives' babies to shoot out so they can just attack the village. That's so cool. And they go like, "Welcome to Transylvania," and Dracula is like always like he touches like the garlic steak, and he's like, "Wah!" and he like throws it away. Like, as a kid, I was like, that was so cool. And it's like, as an adult, finally going and watching these original works, they're like my favorites. Except for Dracula. I would swap Dracula for Invisible Man, because I love the Invisible Man movie, I love the Wolfman movie, and I love the Frankenstein movie. But I don't like the Dracula original that much, but I do really love Dracula as a character in movies. Like Francis Ford Coppola's 92 Dracula, I believe is when it came out. Great movie. Such a great movie. Go and watch that. But man, Van Helsing, for me as a kid, I always love watching that. And I love when he fights the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and he's like the CGI guy who scratches his ass and smokes a cigarette. I thought that was so cool and like scary, and I don't know, it's very gothic and action packed. I don't know. I didn't watch like a lot of like good movies, I guess you could say, but Van Helsing to me is still a good movie, and I think it only gets better with age, and it's like nostalgic. So like, yeah, I totally got to put it in there. So there you go, Van Helsing. I am going to go with one honorable mention though, and it kills me not to put it in here, but there's one movie I have to put in, but it kills me. Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I think it easily could be in the top 5 for this year. I did a podcast episode on Inside the Sequel. My podcast, I already talked about it, so you can listen to that. And there's been a lot of Snyder talk already, and I've already put my stance. He's goated. He's one of the best directors working right now. Let him keep putting out more shit. And I love Dawn of the Dead. Who would have thought? People are like, Zack Snyder can't do anything good. The Snyder Cuts, man, whatever. But man, he's like the only person who did a George A. Romero adaptation. And in my opinion, debatably did it better than Romero with Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead is Romero's best movie, in my opinion. Dawn of the Dead is amazing too, from originally from him. But man, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead gives it a run for its money, in my opinion. And yeah, so that's my honorable mention. Here we go with number 1. Obviously, it's Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Movie is perfect. Like, how can you like not love Spider-Man 1 and 2? I personally love 1, but 2 is the better movie. There's not a day that goes by where I don't think about Spider-Man 2 or I think about quoting Spider-Man 2. Movies, I feel like if they were more like Spider-Man 2, we'd be in a great state of mind. I mean, Spider-Man 2 is just divine. Alfred Molina is Dr. Octopus is fantastic. I love the reveal that Harry gets of Peter. The relationship he has to juggle with Mary Jane is great. His relationship with Aunt May, kind of coming to terms with who he is, Peter Parker as Spider-Man and the person, having to balance your life with like progressing, because like you know Peter has to give up his social life, his relationships with people in the real world for the greater good. And that's like the sacrifice Uncle Ben had talked about. And this movie really resonates that the most. And it's heartbreaking. And it's kind of like, you kind of think about like the people who like, who really do go through these things of like feelings alone and wanting to have a simple life, but they can't, it kind of makes you, have sympathy of sorts. And also it's the best MCU movie of all time. Like you talk about like Marvel movies, nothing comes close to Spider-Man 2. I should do a Marvel ranking because it'd be fun to kind of like to give my interpretation, because like the movies that come close to Spider-Man 2 I would only think is like Infinity War, Black Panther, I would probably say Age of Ultron. I really love Age of Ultron, and Thor Ragnarok, which are my favorites. So but nowhere even close to the depth that Spider-Man 2 has. Spider-Man 2 is a bona fide classic. Like, it is a flawless movie. And if there are flaws in it, please tell me. Because anything can be solved with poetry. Simple as that. And when Alfred Molina says, I need precious tritium, and then Harry goes, you can't, you're crazy, you'll blow up the city. I love that. And you get the horror elements of his claws in the hospital, an intense scene. Man, Spider-Man 2 is just so freaking phenomenal. I could watch it any day of the week, any time of the day. Spider-Man 2 is perfect. So that's my top 5 movies. So you get Sleepover / Cinderella Story / Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen and Mean Girls. And then you get at number 4, you get Troy / Alexander / Robin Hood, or King Arthur, excuse me. Number 3, you will get Resident Evil Apocalypse. Number 2, Van Helsing. And then obviously number 1, you're going to get Spider-Man 2. That's my top 5 movies of the random year we picked, which was 2004 from The Generator. So there's my top 5 right there. And you better not have any issues with it. If you liked this top 5 and you want to see me doing more random years and just giving off the dome my top 5 movies when I pull it up right here, let me know down in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, give notifications. I've been working hard to get more of these videos up. Don't forget to check out our podcast channel, Inside the Sequel. The links are down in the description. And hey, remember, if you aren't standing Spider-Man 2 on the internet, do you really care about cinema? Anyway, we'll see you next time.